Good day, MMO Zealots! I'm Zoofus and I want to start a series of all the possible dungeons we can encounter for the League of Legends MMO currently in development. The first part in the series will cover a part of a highly likely dungeon in the city of Demacia. Please do keep in mind that this is very speculative and nothing is set in stone at all. So don't expect it to come into the MMO. I just want to make a summary of what we already see in the lore and the stories. Also, there is a lot of information to be found in the Legends of Runeterra cards, so they are worth checking out if you want to have some possible content for the upcoming MMO. I just connect the dots in my MMO copium addicted brain, so don't shoot me if these dungeons will not be a thing in the game. And okay, let's dive into the Mageseekers Complex. Let's first see what we can find in the description of the Mageseekers Complex. A large headquarters for the Mageseekers. This building stands out because of its impressive colossal marble eagle standing in the top of the building. It also houses the Demacian mages, which are imprisoned and locked in order not to wreak havoc and destruction in the capital. It also houses the infamous Silas, so yeah. This is literally a dungeon where they lock up mages. Freeing the mages and killing the leaders of the order would be already a great dungeon quest to embark on. So if this won't become a dungeon, you can personally send me emails with hate speech in it. I will accept my defeat and I will do the walk of shame. Yep. So who are the Mageseekers, you might think? The Mageseekers are a powerful Demacian task force assigned by the government of Demacia. It's an organization tasked with the location and arrest of magic users across the kingdom of Demacia. The Mageseekers are seemingly ever present in Demacian life. While they used to accept mages into their ranks, the Mageseekers have become more extreme in their methods since the assassination of King Jarvan III and the start of the Silas Mage Rebellion. If you want, there is, I think, a free comic online. It's called Lux, and there you can find all the useful information about the Mageseekers, about the rebellion of Silas and his escape. It's a really nice story. I really like it. So I'm really excited what they're gonna do with the dungeon story, because it's gonna be for sure referenced. But before we dive into the dungeon, I want to cover why. Why do the Mageseekers exist in Demacia and where did it all started? Years before the founding of Noxus in eastern Valoran, the entire world of Runeterra was devastated by the cataclysmic magical forces of the Rune Wars. As a result, many refugees migrated to the Petricite forest of western Valoran in hopes of escaping the chaos. As the properties of the trees helped to shield the settlers from the devastation over the centuries, both these refugees and their descendants held a subconscious disdain for magic. And even after the Rune Wars had ended, the settlers of Demacia came to harbor distrust and prejudice against the mages of even their own citizenry. As a result of this distrust, the Kingdom of Demacia eventually founded the Order of the Mageseekers, a task force which would hunt down and contain deadly sources of magic in hopes of keeping the general public safe. There's a lot of prejudices against mages because of the past, and I love this. I love this aspect, what they do here. Riot dives into the collective trauma of the Rune Wars, and the past collective trauma affects what happens in the present, and they got really extreme with it. The proportional distrust that comes with the use of magic, because magic should be powerful, it should be a way to create. But the descendants, they don't know, because they didn't see magic, so they don't know what magic is. They don't know the healing magic. They don't know anything about magic. They only heard it from stories, and these stories comes from the destruction of the Rune Wars. So it's a very typical trope in storytelling, I would say. Because what we are afraid of, we distrust so much that we become aggressive to defend ourselves. So I really love how Riot is implementing this type of storytelling. Okay, anyway, so up to the Mage Rebellion. So seriously guys, if you want to dive into the Mage Rebellion, please read the Lux comic. The Lux comic explains everything what I'm gonna say now, but if you guys really are too lazy to read it, yeah, then I have a short summary coming. As mages across Demacia felt the toll of the growing oppression under the Mageseekers, many Demacian magic users were motivated to join the rebellion led by Silas. It's an escaped prisoner and revolutionary who hoped to overthrow the Mageseekers and the monarchy under which they served. The Mage Rebellion gathered steam after the assassination of King Jarvan III. The Mageseekers were granted the power to imprison and exile all mages across Demacia, along with anyone who might sympathize with their cause. Mages were no longer allowed to work under the Mageseekers' order by adhering to the laws of stone. Every mage in the kingdom was now considered an enemy guilty of treason. Currently, the primary goal of the Mageseekers' order is to arrest Silas. Okay, so there are a lot of possible connections we can make with different champions. Will they be involved in some kind of way in the MMO? I have no idea, but there are the possible interactions we can see while doing the dungeon. There is Jarvan IV, whose dad got killed and murdered by Silas, or they think that's still a mystery, guys, so maybe this will get cleared out in the dungeon. There is Garen connected to it, Lux connected to it, because she helped Silas escape. Shyvana was imprisoned by the Mageseekers. Sona was pursued by the Mageseekers during a concert. Silas was kept in this dungeon for a big part of his life until Lux freed him. I mean, there's so many connections and it can be a beautiful story explained inside the dungeon. These champions could be used as allied NPCs or even quest givers, as they are a major part of the League IP. It would surprise me if they were not a part in this dungeon. If, of course, if it's coming a dungeon. Okay, up to the next part of the video. We have the dungeon NPCs, the hostile dungeon NPCs. We have the Mageseeker Persuader. As the name already says, this NPC tries to persuade the ones who are hiding valuable information from the Order. Next, we have the Mageseeker Investigator. These NPCs patrol and inspect suspicious magical activity. They are like the detectives of Demacia, but then for magic. Next up, we have the Mageseeker Insider. This NPC is probably like a DPS NPC who reflects your magic spells back to you. So don't use magic in this dungeon. Very important detail. Okay, next one. The Mageseeker Conservator. They are the confiscators of magical items. They are like the FDA from Runeterra. Every object that is magic related is stored away in the library of the Mageseekers. Okay, we go further into the dungeon and we arrive at the dungeon bosses. Okay guys, I have to be honest here, I have no clue who the dungeon bosses will be, but I have a strong suspicion that it will be Lord Eldred Crownguard. And this guy is a special guy because he is connected to the Crownguard family. As we know, Garen and Lux and Tiana Crownguard are also connected to this family. And what's so special about Lord Eldred? That he is the head of the Mageseekers. And Lord Eldred is the husband of Tiana Crownguard. Wow, what a coincidence. Maybe we see a couple fight. Maybe Lord Eldred and Tiana Crownguard, and they have like a mechanic where they protect each other in some kind of way. But Tiana Crownguard is a bit of an uncertain one, because she is in a way still protecting Lux. So let's say it's a difficult family situation. But if she is a boss, she will probably use her shoulder pads as weapons, no doubt. Look at these. Okay, this brings us to the next part of the video, and we talk about mechanics. Which mechanics the NPCs and enemy encounters will use. I take those mechanics from Legends of Runeterra because they have a lot of mechanics in the cards that can be used in the MMO too. So we have silencing. This is the inability to cast magic spells or abilities. We have magic absorption, like a spell shield, absorbing a huge part of all the magic damage being dealt to. We have reflection. Expect some spells to be reflected back to the spellcaster. We have elegance, giving NPC allies strong buffs. We have barriers, shields to absorb incoming damage, and we have toughness. See it as an incoming damage reducer. So we have our NPCs, we have our boss battles, we have our mechanics, and we have our setting. So, I know you guys are waiting for it, so let's jump into the most interesting part of it all. The loot drops. Okay, before we talk about drops, I want to just talk about appearances. What are the appearances of the Mageseekers? Like most Demacians, Mageseekers usually appear wearing a uniform of white, blue and gold. As part of their uniform, Mageseekers wear half masks in order to emphasize their role as enforcers of the Demacian throne, apart from the regular military or police. Additionally, Mageseekers are required to wear a grey mark. And this little device is interesting. A grey mark is a Mageseeker's badge, made from petricite. It's a material which is used to absorb and contain magic as a safeguard against magic. We can already see petricite being a huge part of Demacia. So my guess is that petricite will be used in weaponry and armor sets. Probably it will be linked to the Mageseeker's armor. So there will be maybe a light version, a medium and a heavy version of the same armor set. And please, I want Tiana's Crown Guard shoulder pads. Please just give them to me. But all jokes aside though, this is all heavy speculation. And I am just too excited about this project, so you can call me crazy. But if you are as crazy as me, what are your favorite dungeons you would like to see in the Riot MMO? Drop a comment and let's see which places you want to explore with your friends. Also, if you like this video, please hit the like button and subscribe to this channel, because I'm just starting out and I know I have still a lot to learn, so feedback or critics are always welcome. So now that we covered everything, I just hope this will become a dungeon, or I have to deal with the fact that I'm a joke and a fake content creator. Oh boy, great.